Good day everyone, my name is Heinrich Edgecome and we're going to paint this peaceful lake scene. I'm only going to use 3 colors. I am going to work wet on wet, wet on dry, and I'm going to show you how to mix these colors to create beautiful effects. And then I'm going to add a little bit of gouache just to accentuate some of the areas. The materials I used is shown here, and I will also add it to the description list. So let's start. I did a basic sketch. I'm working flat on the table and I'm also making sure that the whole page is wet because you want that water to soak into the paper, as it will make the wet and wet technique so much easier and the paper will not dry while you are busy with this initial layer. I'm using a mix of burnt sienna and ultramarine, and that creates a beautiful grey. My paints are very diluted because I really like to build up the values as I go along, because it's easier to fix something if you do make a mistake if the layers are light. Burnt sienna, ultramarine and raw sienna is an absolute must for me in my palette, because it's such a versatile combination to have. This is still my initial layer. I'm just giving a value change for the reflections that's going to be in the water. You may have a different way to create your reflections, but I like to build up those values up to the darkest dark. So now I'm dabbing any excess moisture that's on my masking tape, because I don't want that to bleed into my painting. So now on the left hand side in that midground, I'm going to start adding a few trees. I'm really going a lot darker on this side, but it will fade back quite a bit. And I'm just trying to connect that left hand side and the right hand side of the page. I am mixing in some of the warmer colors with the cooler colors, and that just creates interest. And as you can see, the color is bleeding into the water area, and so I'm just lifting that out. I'm working a little bit more on the reflections that's going to be in the water, because I do not want any hard lines, so all those colors is going to fuse softly into the background. Let your painting dry. As you can see, the colors faded back quite a bit, so I'm re-wetting my whole page because I want to do another layer just to enhance some of the color. I'm really enhancing the pigments at the bottom part of the page just to help with the perspective. That will help to create some depth in our painting. I'm just enhancing that tree line on the left hand side. There's a little bit more contrast between the sky and that tree line. And once again, I'm just basically using the same colors as I did in the first layer. The second step that I'm doing now could have been skipped if you decided how dark you wanted your initial layers. So now I'm just doing that little heel on the right hand side. I'm using more of a warmer colors, but I'm also mixing in some of the darker values and cooler colors because I want that heel to stand more to the foreground than the tree line. That's going to be a little bit further to the back, so you can see the colors are going to be a lot more intense. Now we can let our painting dry again. Now our painting is dry again, so I'm adding a little bit of texture on the trees in the left hand side. And now I'm starting with my main trees on the right hand side. I'm really giving broken lines and just giving a little bit of variations with the shape and angle they are in. And I'm bringing in a little bit more warmth in that little grass field or hill, that whatever you want to call it. And just developing that area, because that is our main focal point. And just enhancing the color so that it's a little bit more intense. But I'm leaving little gaps of the previous layers so that we get variation. Now I'm just building the reflections of the trees in the water some more. I'm just creating the illusion that it looks similar to the trees at the top. I'm just spraying a little bit of water there, but that reflections can fade into the background. And adding a few ripples in the water. Remember, the further away, it's not going to be as pronounced as the ripples in the front, because I just want to show some movement in the water. And as you can see, the ripples are much bigger and wider than the ones at the back. And I'm using warmer colors also there. You can see on the right hand side, those reflections are really fusing beautifully in the water. And I'm just adding a few details there on the left hand side just to lead the eye into the painting. There's always a little bit of grasses and things near the water. I really love to use this extended point brush because it really dances around on the paper. Adding a little bit more detail to the trees. We're bringing a little bit of life into the painting with a few birds. And now the painting can dry again. Now that the paper is dry again, you can see that the colors faded again. So I'm just giving some more details with a darker value. And I think that will just help to give the trees a little bit more definition and dimension. And also the grasses in the foreground. I'm deepening the value on that hill. And now I'm using my Eradicator brush just to lift out a few more ripples. So I'm removing some of the pigment in this case, and that will definitely help to bring even more movement and life into the water. Eradicator brush is definitely something that you can think about investing in. This one that I'm using is from Rosemary & Co. And now I'm using some permanent white gouache from Winsor Newton just to give a little bit more detail. Because I love to use gouache in my paintings. And I think that just gives that little bit more contrast and interest. And you can already see how much more life there is in the painting. I really played around quite a bit in this painting and I loved it. And now I'm signing it, and I think enough. Please like, subscribe and comment for me. And then I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching.